Koichi is a middle school boy who is living with his father alone in Tokyo, after his mother died while giving birth to him. And suddenly his father gets a job in one of the neighboring countries. So Koichi is forced to go live with his grandmother and his aunt in the village until his father returns from travel. And he enrolls in the middle school there. But he sees a strange and mysterious girl there, and no one deals with her at all as if she is exactly dead. So Koichi tries to get close to her and talk to her. So his friends warn him about her, so that her curse does not affect him. But he does not care about their words, so the curse spreads in the whole class, and the students start dying horribly in strange and terrifying accidents. On one occasion Koichi wakes up in the hospital, after he was hit by severe pneumonia, and his aunt Reiko asks him how are you feeling now, so he replies that he feels severe pain in his chest, and he asks his grandmother did my father know the news, so she tells him she has not told him yet, so his aunt Reiko suggests that she calls him and informs him, but the grandmother refuses and tells her that she will call him herself. So Reiko goes to the window of the room, and shows him a school from there, so he asks her is this the one you work at as a teacher right? So she replies yes. Anyway the school will be good for you, it may not be the same as Tokyo schools, but there is not much difference between them. I am sure you will get used to it quickly. After a while some students from the school come to visit him, so he asks them do you want something specific? So a student named Kazami replies we came today as class representatives. So a student named Sakuragi says we heard that you were supposed to go to school from the beginning of the week. But you suddenly got sick, so we decided to visit you and we brought you some flowers as a gift. By the way I heard that you were in Tokyo, and you were also in a private school. Why did you come to live here? So he replies there are some family circumstances. Sakuragi asks him is this the first time you come to live here? I feel that I have seen you before. So he replies I used to visit the village a lot, but I never lived here. So a student named Akazawa asks him how long did you stay here? So he tells her I do not remember the period exactly, but I was still young at that time. But the students are worried about something, and they try to say something but they do not speak. So Akazawa tries to break the silence, and she extends her hand to Koichi to shake hands with him, and tells him we the more about you at a better opportunity. At night, Koichi rides the elevator to leave the hospital, so he looks behind him and notices a strange girl holding a creepy doll, and he realizes that she is from the same school as him. So he asks her if she's actually in the school or not, but she does not answer him, and she only nods her head. So he asks her again why are you going down to the ground floor, especially since that floor has nothing but a morgue. So she tells him I have son I must deliver there. The elevator reaches the ground floor, and the girl takes her things and walks into the darkness. So Koichi asks her what is your name, so the girl stops and tells him Misaki, and continues her way toward the darkness. The next day Koichi wakes up to the sound of his phone ringing, and he finds his father calling him, so Koichi asks him is there something, so his father replies this is your first day right, I am calling you to wake you up. The important thing is how are you after leaving the hospital? I do not want you to worry about this illness. I also had pneumonia before when I was young, so Koichi tells him but you never told me before. So he replies I did not want you to think it was a hereditary disease, and suddenly the call cuts off between them. After that Koichi gets ready and goes to school, and the teacher tells him the most important thing is that you can blend in with the students, and if anything happens to you inform me immediately. And Koichi enters the class and introduces himself in front of the students, but they are worried and afraid of something, and then Koichi goes and sits on his seat, and he notices the strange girl named Misaki sitting by herself. After the class ends the students of the class go to Koichi to talk with him, so that he is not alone, and they ask him about Tokyo, and whether it is better or this village, so he replies that they are not very different, and also Tokyo is crowded and you cannot relax there, and after a lot of talk with the students, Koichi notices that Misaki's seat is empty. So Koichi is surprised, so Kazami asks him is something worrying you, so he replies no nothing. By the way there was a girl who came to visit me with you her name was Akazawa. Where is she now I have not seen her since morning. So Kazami tells him she is probably absent today, and he looks at his friend as the topic as if there is something. So his friend suggests that they go to introduce him to the school more. After that the whole class goes to run in the schoolyard, but Koichi sits with his friend and does not run with them, because of his illness. So Koichi tells him I heard that you have a heart disease. So his friend replies yes, and since I was young I have been suffering from this matter. I wish to run like the rest of my friends but unfortunately. So Koichi tries to comfort him and tell him that he may run one day. So his friend smiles, and suddenly he feels pain in his heart, so he gets up quickly to go to the nurse's room, and he tells him do not worry about me this happens normally. Sakuragi goes to Koichi and asks him about their friend. So he tells her that he went to the nurse because he suddenly got tired, and Koichi notices that her legs are injured, so she replies do not worry I fell on my leg yesterday. By the way you were walking the break with Kazami right? Did he tell you anything? So he tells her he just introduced me to the school. So Sakuragi is surprised, so Koichi asks her where is the girl named Misaki, So Sakuragi is shocked and her face changes, and she tries to pretend that she does not know who he is talking about, and suddenly Koichi notices Misaki standing on top of the building, so he goes up to her quickly. As soon as he goes up he finds her sitting and drawing, so she asks him, "Are you sure about what you are doing?" So Koichi is surprised by this sentence, but he does not give any attention, and he asks her, "What were you drawing?" So she refuses to show him and puts the drawing behind her back. So he asks her, "Do you remember when I met you in the hospital?" So Misaki shakes her head no. So Koichi tries to remind her when she went down to the ground floor, and went to the morgue, and he also tries to ask her some questions about the reason for her going down in the first place, but she refuses to answer any question. Misaki asks him, "Did none of the students tell you anything?" So he replies no, so she tells him, "They link your name with death. Horrible and unjustified death in the school. In the 3rd grade death is always close to the students." But Koichi does not understand anything at all. So she asks him again, "You really do not know anything. Anyway, the time will come when you understand, but now you are supposed not to get close to me at all, nor even talk to me," and then she leaves him and walks away. After a while Koichi goes in the car with his aunt, and she asks him, "Do you feel that you blended in with your classmates?" And suddenly Koichi notices Misaki standing in the street under the rain, so he is very surprised. The next day Koichi goes to school, but before entering his class, he goes to Misaki who is sitting in the garden, so Misaki asks him, "Why? Are you sure about what you are doing? You are supposed to be more afraid for yourself than this." After that Koichi goes to the art class, and while everyone is sitting drawing, Koichi gets distracted trying to look for Misaki, but he does not find her there, and after the class ends, Koichi leaves with his friend Yuya. And Koichi asks him, "Why did you draw a strange drawing like this?" So he replies, "Because I always feel anxious about everything." So another friend named Teshigawara joins them, and asks them, "What are you talking about?" So Koichi replies, "We are talking about anxiety in the world. Have you ever felt anxious before?" So Teshigawara laughs, and tells him, "Of course, ever since I reached the 3rd year in this school, I found myself in a cursed class." So Koichi becomes very surprised. Teshigawara tells him, "I did not get a chance yesterday to tell you something important." So their friend Yuya asks him, "What are you talking about? Do you not notice that this is a bad idea?" And Koichi stands there not understanding anything from them. And suddenly he notices Misaki sitting in the library, so Koichi asks permission from his friends to go to her, but they try to stop him, and warn him that he is doing something dangerous. But he does not listen and goes to her anyway. Misaki asks him, "Did your friends not stop you from coming to me?" But Koichi asks her, "What were you doing in the rain yesterday?" So she replies, "I like standing in the rain." So Koichi asks her again, "What happened to your eye? And what is this bandage on it?" But she refuses to answer him, and suddenly the class bell rings, so a strange man comes out of the library, and tells him, "You are supposed to go to your class now." At night, Koichi sits with his aunt Reiko, and tells her about what happened in the library, and about the strange man who came out of it. So she tells him, "You must mean the librarian. He does not socialize with people and looks scary. That is why most students are afraid of him. By the way, Koichi, will you join one of the school clubs?" So he replies, "Since you opened the topic, I was invited today to join the art club." So she asks him, "Do you like art?" So he replies, "I have an interest in it, but I am not good enough at drawing. But I want to join an art school, because I want to study things like sculpting and drawing." She tells him, "First, your father will oppose this idea. Second, when you graduate you will not have an impressive skill. But still you must try if you like this matter. Because giving up without trying will make you a failed person." After that Koichi leaves and goes to the hospital again, specifically to the nurse who treated him. So the nurse asks him, "Why did you come at such a late time?" So he tells her, "I want to ask you a question. Was there a girl who died last Monday in this hospital?" So she replies, "At that time you were in the hospital. Why are you asking?" So he tells her, "Is something I am confused about and I must know it." So she replies, "No patient died while under my responsibility." So Koichi asks her another question. "Did you see a girl wearing a school uniform that day? And she was also wearing a bandage on her eye?" So she tells him, "No. But I heard that there was indeed a girl who died. But I do not know her name. I will look into it and call you when I find something." So Koichi thanks her for her effort. The next day, Koichi is in the class, and he looks at Misaki's seat but does not find her there. And suddenly he notices Akazawa looking at him with a strange look, and after the class ends, Sakuragi and Akazawa go to him, and ask him to talk with them, so he goes to them. And then Akazawa asks him, "So are you sure that you were born in this village, and then went straight to Tokyo?" He tells her, "Yes. Why are you asking all these questions?" So she replies, "I feel that I have seen you before somewhere." So he tells her, "Maybe you are mistaken or something. By the way, I heard that you work in something called countermeasures. What does that mean?" So she replies, "Briefly, I protect the class from the strange phenomena that happen." So Sakuragi and Yuya silence her, and tell her that he still does not know anything. Suddenly Koichi notices Misaki walking alone, so he goes to walk behind her. So Akazawa gets angry at him, and Koichi keeps watching her to see where her house is, and suddenly he finds her entering a small alley, and as soon as he enters he finds that she disappeared. So Koichi walks to leave but he gets lost, and finds himself in front of a strange shop, and inside it are creepy dolls. And he hesitates whether to enter or not. And suddenly the nurse calls him, and tells him I found out the name of the girl who died. She is a middle school student and an only child to her parents, and her name is Misaki. So this news falls on Koichi like a shock. So Koichi decides that he will enter the shop, and a creepy old woman welcomes him, and tells him it is rare that we see a boy your age here. You are a middle school student, right? I have many dolls here. Take your time looking at them. We have no customer other than you here. So Koichi goes to explore the dolls, and finds them very scary. And while he is searching, he finds a sign written you will find many below. So Koichi goes down to explore the place. While he is looking at the dolls, he notices a strange doll that looks like Misaki. So he asks himself, why is there a doll that looks like her here? And suddenly Misaki appears behind the doll, and asks him, you seem to like these things, right? Why are you in a place like this? So Koichi gets shocked and terrified. So she tells him, I am not hiding here to surprise you. It is just a coincidence that brought us together here. You thought that this doll looks like me, right? So he asks her while scared, what are you doing here? So she replies, I like these dolls. And what brought you here? So he tells her, I was walking on the road but I got lost. So I found this place and decided to explore it. So Misaki asks him, what do you think, should I show you what is under this bandage? So Misaki removes the bandage under her eye, and its shape is very strange. And she tells him this is a doll eye, and it sees things that should not be seen. That is why I always cover it. And she asks him, how do you feel right now? The place does not seem comfortable to you, right? And she suggests that they go up to the floor above, because it is more comfortable. And they sit and talk for a while before Koichi leaves. Koichi asks her about the doll that looks a lot like her. So she replies that she does not know why it looks like her. So Koichi asks her again to reassure his heart. Were you not holding a doll the first time I saw you? Someone told me that a girl died in the hospital that day. Was that her doll? Or in other words, do you have a sister? But Koichi gets very scared after she shakes her head and tells him no. She tells him, it seems there are many questions going around in your head. So he replies, indeed. There are many things that surprise me. But Misaki interrupts him, and tells him, I warned you about getting close to me. It seems the time has already passed. Do you still not know anything? And Misaki stays silent for a moment. She tells him there is an old story that is 26 years old. In the 3rd middle school grade in the school we are in, there was a student who was academically excellent, and she was kind to everyone, and the students loved her before the teachers, but she died quickly at the beginning of her 3rd year. It is said that she was in a traffic accident. Anyway, it was a strong shock to all the students in the class, and the class was filled with deep sadness. But a student stood up and said she is not dead yet, and pointed to her seat and shouted at them, look there, she is still alive, can you not see her? And after that the students started saying the same thing. And from then this reaction spread among the students, because no one wanted to believe the bitter truth. And in the end all the students continued to pretend that she was still alive, to the point that the school principal joined them, and he even reserved a seat for her at the graduation ceremony. And after the ceremony ended, they took a group photo, a photo of all the students and teachers. But they discovered something strange after they looked at the photo. The girl who was supposed to be dead was present in the photo, with a pale face like the dead, and she was smiling in the photo like the others. And that girl's name was Misaki. Koichi is shocked, and fear appears on his face, and suddenly his phone rings, and it is his grandmother calling to check on him, because he was very late after school. So he tells her, do not worry about me, I just got lost on the road. I will return home. And after he hangs up the call, the old woman who owns the shop tells him that the shop is closing and he must leave now. So Koichi looks at Misaki, and the surprise is that she has disappeared. The next day at school, the exam at school for the 3rd middle school grade is announced. So Teshigawara tells his friend Kazami, do not worry, you will stay with me anyway even in high school. So Koichi is surprised by this talk. So Kazami tells him, he and I have been together since elementary school, and we are also neighbors for a long time. I even know things about him that he does not know about himself. So Teshigawara gets confused, and asks him, what do you mean? So Koichi smiles. So Teshigawara asks him, which high school do you want to go to? And will you return to Tokyo again? So he replies, yes, my father will return from travel next year. After the school day ends, it is raining heavily. So Sakuragi goes to Koichi, and asks him, why did you not bring your umbrella? So he replies, I did not expect that I would need it. So Sakuragi suggests that he walk with her because she has an umbrella, and Koichi agrees and goes with her. Koichi prepares his things and asks Sakuragi about Misaki. So Sakuragi stops in her place, and tells him, you are not allowed to talk about her in class 3. So Koichi is surprised and asks her why. But Teshigawara passes in front of them and cuts their conversation. So Koichi to ask him about Misaki. So he replies, do you believe these stories? So Sakuragi asks Koichi, why are you asking about these things? So he tells her, I heard a rumor about a girl who was loved and died, and then appeared in the graduation ceremony photo. So the teacher Reiko comes, and asks them what is going on. So Sakuragi replies, Koichi learned about the year of the beginning. So she tells them this is a big problem. At night, Koichi sits with his aunt Reiko, and asks her about the story that happened 26 years ago, and tells her that he heard that there is more to the story and he wants to know it. But Reiko refuses to tell him, and tells him do not dig too deep into the matter, because the right time will come and you will know everything. The next day, Koichi is walking with Kazami on their way to school, and before they enter it, Koichi notices Misaki on top of the building, so Koichi goes up to her, and as soon as he reaches her, Jaguara calls him, and asks him what are you doing, Akazawa is very angry at you. So Koichi asks him why would she be angry at me. So he tells him listen to me carefully, do not talk to someone who does not exist, because this matter is very dangerous, and regarding the story we talked about yesterday, I will tell you everything next month, but during this time do not talk to that girl. And suddenly the call cuts off. After a while, and during the exam period, Koichi finishes the exam quickly to go out and talk to Misaki, and tells her you left quickly like every time. Are you okay? By the way, the girl who died in the hospital was named Misaki. So Misaki replies she is one of my relatives. We were together all the time, so he tells her anyway. I want to know the rest of the story you told me. So she asks him is no one planning to tell you? Fine, I will tell you myself. So he replies I wanted to ask you a question before you tell it. Why do all the students in the school ignore you? As if you do not exist. So she tells him because I actually do not exist. So Koichi is shocked and trembles with fear. Misaki continues her words, as if none of them can see me, so Koichi is even more shocked. And suddenly one of the people runs up the stairs quickly, and delivers shocking news to Sakuragi, which is that her mother has died, so she takes her umbrella and runs down quickly. So she sees Koichi standing with Misaki, so she becomes very scared and goes down the other stairs, and while she is running, Sakuragi slips on the stairs, and the umbrella falls from her, and its tip pierces Sakuragi's neck, so Sakuragi bleeds until death, and Koichi and the person who told her the news run to her, and they are shocked by the scene they saw. After the accident, we learn that there is a curse that affects the third middle school grade every year, which is the death of students and also people close to them at the beginning every new month, in horrific and strange ways. After a while, Koichi is in the hospital doing an examination on his lungs, and while he is waiting for his turn, he calls Teshigawara, but he does not answer him, so the nurse goes to him to check on him, and tells him because you saw a horrific scene, your body was definitely affected by it, so he asks her did you know about the matter? So she replies yes, my brother is your classmate in the same class. By the way, I want to sit with you, and know why you are looking for the girl named Misaki. Wait for me after you finish so we can leave together. After that Koichi goes down to the street, holds his umbrella and looks at its tip, and remembers what happened to Sakuragi, so the nurse comes to him and apologizes for being late, and tells him I know it is late, but what do you think about going to eat somewhere and talk? After a while they go to a restaurant, and she tells him so the girl with the bandage on her eye is related to the girl who died in the hospital. Anyway, I talked to my brother about the matter, but he refused to tell me anything, so Koichi replies there is definitely something strange. The students' behaviors are all strange, and yet no one is willing to tell me anything. So she tells him you are right. My brother was very scared when I asked him. He almost believes that what happened last week was not just an accident. Koichi becomes sad, and asks the nurse have you ever heard about the girl who wears a bandage on her eye? So she replies no. I only knew about her from you. So he asks her again did your brother not talk about her to you before? She is a student with us in the class. So she replies my brother and I do not talk much. So he tells her the strange thing is that all the students in the class treat her as if she does not exist. I thought she might just be bullied by the class. But it seems the students are afraid of her. So the nurse is surprised, and Koichi continues speaking. One of my friends told me do not talk to someone who does not exist. And she also claims that none of the students can see her. And when she told me that the accident happened immediately, she replies it might just be a coincidence and nothing more. So he tells her there is something else on my mind. And Koichi explains to her the full story about the girl who died 26 years ago, and after he finishes, he asks her have you heard it before? So she replies no I have not heard about it before. I studied at a different school than yours. I will ask my brother and tell you the details. After he finishes with her, Koichi walks in the street to go home, and suddenly he meets his friend. So she goes to him and greets him, and asks him why did you not go to school today? So he replies I just came from the hospital now. Why are you not at school? So she tells him I had theater practice today. And by the way Akazawa is with me too. She looks like a strange and scary girl but she is kind, and suddenly strong winds blow in the place, to the point that glass from a car falls toward them, but Koichi jumps and catches it before it falls on them. So his friend becomes very scared, and screams I do not want to die. After that Koichi stands in front of the shop, where he met Misaki before, and decides to enter there hoping to find Misaki, and he notices the old woman telling him the same words she told him last time, so Koichi is surprised, and goes down to the lower floor to see it, and goes to the doll that looks like Misaki, and suddenly Misaki appears to him again. She tells him I did not expect to see you in this place again. What brought you here? So he replies I was at the hospital and going home, and I came across this shop. Why did you not go to school today? So she replies, I go whenever I feel like it. So Koichi asks her what is the student's reaction after the accident. She tells him all of them are terrified. They think the curse has started again, so Koichi is surprised, and Misaki continues speaking, has no one told you about the curse yet? Good, because that is better for you. It would be better if you still did not know anything anyway. I am not supposed to go to school during this period. Be careful. And suddenly a doll falls to the ground, and Misaki disappears after that. At night Koichi enters to his aunt and finds her sleeping, but she wakes up as soon as he enters. But she looks very tired, so Koichi asks her what is wrong, so she replies just a headache. But I have been feeling it lately. I think I am exhausted from work. So Koichi asks her, have you heard that the third grade is cursed? So she tells him, you will go to school tomorrow, right? You are supposed to follow the system there, which is to listen to the students and go along with their opinion. The next day, the students are sad about what happened to their friend, and at the same time Akazawa is talking with two students. And they tell her, we thought it would not happen again this year. So there are probably two possibilities. Either Sakuraji's death was just a coincidence, or the curse started last month. So Akazawa tells them, since I protect the class, I cannot believe that what happened was just a coincidence. Especially since her mother died on the same day. The two students ask her, could what happened be because Koichi talked to Misaki? Why would the administration put a transfer student into our class anyway? Were the teachers not supposed to explain the matter to him? So she tells them they probably thought it was better to keep the matter secret. So Akazawa blames herself for not warning him from the beginning not to talk to Misaki. So they reply, there is no need for that talk now. The important thing is what we will do now, and how we will tell him. So she tells them it will be difficult to explain the situation to him now. Suddenly Koichi enters the class, and finds all the students looking at him, and they quickly stand up to sit in their places, as if they do not want to talk or even look at him. So Koichi goes and sits on his seat. And during the break, Koichi calls Teshigawara and asks him, where are you? Koichi leaves and goes down to the schoolyard, and finds him standing with Akazawa. So Koichi tells him, I have been calling you for a week, and you did not answer. And you had told me that you would tell me everything at the beginning of the month. And you also mentioned the phrase year of the beginning before. What happened after that? So he replies, it is true that I promised you before. So Akazawa cuts his speech and replies, in his place the situation has changed now. So he asks her, you want me to pretend that Teshigawara did not promise me anything, right? But I want to know, what do you mean by do not talk to someone who does not exist? So Akazawa looks at Teshigawara and gets angry at him. Suddenly Koichi receives a call from the nurse, and he asks her what happened. So she tells him, I wanted to ask you about something, regarding the girl you talked to me about before. Does she really exist? So he replies, yes, I am sure. Why are you asking? So she replies, I was talking with my younger brother yesterday, and he refused to talk about the story you told me, or even the accident from a week ago. And when I asked him about Misaki, his facial expression suddenly changed, and he told me there is no student with that name in our class, and he was speaking seriously as well. Suddenly interference happens in the call, while the nurse is getting into the elevator. And she tells him that she must return to her work quickly. And while the elevator is going down with her, it suddenly malfunctions and falls from the top of the building, crashing hard onto the ground. So the nurse falls and dies from the impact, and Koichi stands shocked by her screams and the sound of the elevator as it falls. After some time following the accident, Koichi goes to school, and hears the teacher saying that your classmate's sister died in a painful accident. We must help him get through his ordeal. Then Misaki enters the classroom, so Koichi looks at her and his eyes do not leave her. After the class ends, the students go to art class, and Yua asks Koichi about teacher Reiko, because she was absent today, so he replies, do not worry, she is fine. Why are you so worried about her? So he tells him, I was worried about her after what happened to Sakuraji, and also our classmate's sister. So Koichi asks him, is there a connection between them? Meaning, is their death linked to the strange accidents that happen? So the student gets confused, but does not answer him, so Koichi gets disappointed, takes himself and goes to the library. As soon as he arrives, he takes a book that contains the school history from 26 years ago, and starts flipping through the photos hoping to find anything that explains the anxiety the students have. And while flipping through the book he notices a photo of his mother. So the librarian goes to him and asks him about his mother. So Koichi becomes very surprised, and asks him, how do you know her? So he replies, somewhat, I heard that she died. When did that happen? So Koichi tells him, she died 15 years ago right after my birth. Suddenly Akazawa enters the library to him, and tells him that the teacher wants him in the teacher's room, and also apologizes to him for what will happen later. So Koichi becomes surprised because he does not understand anything. But he does not pay attention and goes to the teacher. And when he arrives there he finds two investigators talking to him about the nurse's death. And they ask him several simple questions. After he finishes with them, Koichi goes back to his class. But he is surprised to find the classroom completely empty, and also notices that his classmates' belongings are still there. So one of the teachers asks him, did you finish talking with the police officers? So Koichi replies, yes. By the way, where are the rest of the students? So the teacher tells him they went to elect the new class representative, while you were being questioned. The important thing is that you must stick to the class decisions. After that, Koichi waits for two of his friends so they can leave together. And while they are on their way home, Koichi asks them where did the students go during the 6th period. So Yua replies, we went to the meeting hall to discuss several topics. By the way, were you not surprised by the strange things happening since you came here? So Koichi tells him, is that assuming that any of you wants to tell me something? So Yuya apologizes to him, and tells him, I expect that you will enter a very gloomy situation you will not like. Because during our meeting Akazawa said things about you in your absence. But even if you hate what will happen to you later, I ask you to endure it, because it will help protect the entire class. Koichi becomes sad and walks 2 steps forward, and Koichi asks him to bring him a copy of the class notebook. So Yuya asks him, do you not have one? So the other classmate replies and says, this is not fair at all. I hate Akazawa's way of handling things. I will not listen to her or obey her anymore. I will answer any question you have right now. So Koichi asks him, is Misaki really existing? But suddenly before he answers, that student suffers a heart attack, falls to the ground from intense pain, and unfortunately dies because of it. The next day Koichi goes to his school, and finds teacher Reiko going down the stairs, so he greets her but she does not respond, so Koichi becomes surprised. Then he enters his classroom, and finds Kazami and Akazawa talking about something in front of the class but they had finished talking, so Koichi calls to the classmate in front of him, and asks him did something happen today. But he also does not respond. Then the class teacher speaks, and says I know there has been a series of consecutive sorrows. But we must not give up, and the important thing is that everyone sticks to the class decisions. Even teacher Reiko is in a difficult situation, but she agreed to the decision in the end. After the class ends, Koichi calls Yua, so he suddenly panics and walks away quickly. So Koichi becomes surprised and does not understand anything, because whenever he talks to anyone no one responds to him. So he tries to call Teshigawara, but Teshigawara has blocked Koichi on the phone. So Koichi notices him going up the stairs, and goes to understand from him what happened, but Teshigawara does not respond to him, and only apologizes to him. At the end of the school day, Koichi gathers his things to go home, but a strange paper falls from him, and when he opens it to see what is inside, he becomes very shocked. Then he takes it aside and goes to the shop where he meets Misaki. Stands in front of the doll that looks exactly like her, and notices Misaki appearing to him, and she asks him what happened. So he gives her the paper he read in the class, so Misaki opens the paper, and finds written in it, ask Misaki to explain to you. Koichi explains to her everything that happened to him today, and about the strange behavior of the teachers and students toward him, and in the end he asks her, so I have become like you? So she replies, yes. How do you feel now that you do not exist? So he tells her, I feel a bit relieved, because I confirmed that you exist. By the way, is this your home? So she replies, yes. I thought you noticed before. So he tells her, I expected it because you live on this street, and also you are not a customer here. Was it your mother who answered the phone? So she replies, yes. I was very surprised, because usually no one calls me. Anyway, come with me, let us go up to my house. After they go up, Misaki asks him, why do you not ask about what is going on in your mind? It would be easier if I explain it to you now, while we are in this situation. So he tells her, you are right. Since when have the students considered you non-existent in the class? So she replies, from the beginning of the year. The students' refusal to explain the details to you was a big mistake. You were supposed to be with them now, and treat me as if I do not exist, but you have become like me now. So he replies, I know, but I no longer exist to them. But why are they doing this? She tells him, do you remember the story I told you before? That was the beginning of the curse, and death came close to class 3 after that. The first time the curse started was the year Misaki's classmates graduated. It became that every month a student dies, either personally or one of their family members, and all of this is because the number of students in the class increases by 1. So Koichi becomes surprised because he does not understand anything. So Misaki continues speaking, for some reason there is an additional person in the class every year, and no one knows who that person is. 25 years ago, they discovered that the class was missing a chair and a desk, and each person is supposed to have their own seat. But that did not happen because there was an extra person, and no matter how much they searched the records to know who that person was, they found nothing. And since then the curse began. So Koichi asks her, why do people die when there is an extra student? So she replies, no one knows the reason, but apparently that extra person is dead. So Koichi becomes surprised. He asks her, is that dead person like a ghost? So she tells him no, he is a bit different, because that person has a body, and there is also no way to distinguish him from the others, and it seems that the dead person has a soul and memories, and that person does not even know that he is dead. Apparently the actions of class 3 students 26 years ago, and their pretense that Misaki was alive, were the cause of the curse. And that is why the students now were looking for a way to get rid of this matter. And the first thing they tried was to move to another class, but it was useless. But 10 years ago, the students reached another method, which is to treat one person in the class as if they do not exist, and in that way they can preserve the number of students. And it actually succeeded that year. This matter is like magic to get rid of the cursed. We return to the past, and Akazawa is standing with Teshigawara and Kazami talking. So Teshigawara says I thought it would not happen this year. On the first day of school the number of seats was complete. So Akazawa replies but now, and after a new person joined us there is a missing seat. But I am sure he is not the dead one, because he did not live in this village before. And also he has no siblings, and besides that when I shook his hand it was not cold. We return to the present, and Koichi is still talking with Misaki. And he asks her why did they not tell me from the beginning. So Misaki replies because you already talked to me. That is why it became difficult for them to explain the situation to you like before. So Kuchi asks her again why. Is your seat the only one that looks very old? So she tells him because that was the agreement from the beginning, and it might have something to do with activating the magic. Suddenly Misaki's mother enters on them, so Misaki quickly says this is my school friend Koichi. So her mother welcomes him, and apologizes for her appearance. So Misaki gets up and tells Koichi that it is late and he must go home now. After they leave, Koichi asks her is your way of talking to your mother always like this? I felt that you are distant from each other. So she replies she and I are always like this. And how is your family? So he replies my mother died while giving birth to me 15 years ago. By the way does your mother know anything about the class curse? So she tells him no, and I am supposed not to tell her anything, and also we do not talk much. So Koichi asks her are you satisfied with what happened to you because of the magic? So she replies I have no other choice. In the end I became the outcast. And if it was not me I would have joined the rest of the students, and I would have treated someone else as if they did not exist as well. After they walk a bit, Koichi asks her why did they choose to treat two people as if they do not exist. So she tells him because they think the effect of the magic will stop if they asked you to talk to me again. And they also saved themselves the trouble of explaining the situation to you. Besides that they are very desperate, because when they think that they might be the next victim, they take the matter more seriously. While they are walking, Koichi thanks her, and tells her to be careful on her way home, because both of them are close to death. So she tells him do not worry about me, and Misaki removes the bandage on her eye, and tells him I showed it to you before. I lost this eye when I was 4 years old, because a dangerous tumor appeared in it, and one time I woke up from sleep and did not find my eye in its place, and my mother told me that a normal artificial eye would not be attractive, so she made a special eye for me. So Koichi tells her Misaki there is no need to hide it anymore, your eye is very beautiful. So Misaki replies from tomorrow you will be like me, and Misaki extends her hand and shakes his hand, and walks away quickly. After that Koichi goes to his house, and sits on his bed thinking about what is coming, and suddenly his phone rings, and it is his father calling him. So Koichi immediately asks him about his mother, and whether she talked to him about her memories in middle school before. So his father becomes surprised, and asks him why are you asking about this now? So he replies my mother studied in her 3rd year in class 3 right? Does that not remind you of anything? So he tells him she talked to me about some things. By the way how do you feel after returning to the village after being away for near a year and a half? So Koichi becomes very surprised, and tells him but this is the first time I come to this village, and suddenly the call cuts off. The next day, Koichi goes with Misaki to the school rooftop. So Koichi asks her did your mother not prepare lunch for you? So she replies sometimes she prepares it, but most of the time no. But honestly her food is not good at all. So Koichi asks her do you not know how to cook? So she tells him no, I can barely heat red food. So Koichi laughs. And from then on Koichi starts spending most of his time with Misaki, since both of them are ignored by the rest of their classmates. After some time, Koichi and Misaki go to the library to look at the graduation ceremony photos, so he tells him this principal looks very different from the present. He is now the principal of this school. So Misaki goes and tells him there are 2 people who do not exist now. So he replies yes I know. So Koichi asks him were you really the principal of this school 26 years ago? And that is why you knew my mother. Is there no problem with you talking to us now? So he replies I am no longer connected to the class. You can say I am the safest person now. So Koichi asks him then who are the ones in danger? So he tells him the students of class 3 with their genetic families. And also they must be present in the village. So Koichi asks him so taking them out of the village will make them safe. And by the way why are you still in the school until now? So he replies I do not want to harm anyone. Besides because of me the curse existed. After I agreed with the students that Misaki did not die. That is why I carry all the responsibility. So I retired from teaching and became the librarian here. You can say I ran away. Koichi asks him did teachers die as well? So he tells him yes, the principal and his assistant. So Koichi tells him I heard many rumors about Misaki, is he a boy or a girl? So he replies he is a boy, and he died because of the fire that burned his house one day, and his parents and all his siblings also died. So he asks him did you see Misaki's photo after his death? So he tells him yes, but I threw it away after I saw it, because it was honestly terrifying. Koichi tells him then regarding the records that change, so the librarian gives him a big notebook, and tells him you will find inside records of all the classes from 26 years ago. And you will also find a red mark on the name of the person. And that means he died that year. Look at the records from 2 years ago. You will notice a name written below. That is the dead person in that year. So Koichi tells him there are only 7 people who died during that year. Is that not few? So he replies that year, the ignore one person order was applied in the class. But in the second half of the school year, that person came out and refused to be ignored anymore. And after that the students announced his existence and everyone started dealing with him again. So the curse started at that time. The person who was dead in that year was supposed to be a student in that class 3 years earlier. But suddenly the records were altered. So Koichi says, and that means human memory is also altered. So he replies yes, and in the end of the year the records return to their original state, and the identity of the extra person becomes clear. And all memories of that person disappear from that year. And I became unable to find a logical explanation. There might be one thing we can stop the curse with, which is ignoring one student. So Koichi asks him, does it really work against the curse? So he replies, not always. There are years it succeeded and other years it did not. Suddenly the class bell rings, and before Koichi and Misaki leave, Koichi asks him a final question, which is, did the curse happen 15 years ago? So he replies, as far as I remember, yes. That was almost teacher Raiko's year. You mean your mother died because of the curse? So he tells him, yes. My mother was living in the village until she gave birth to me. At night, Koichi sits with his grandparents and his aunt Reiko apologizes to him. So he tells her, my mother died 15 years ago. Was that part of the curse? So she replies, I do not know what happened to my sister. But I remember that the curse stopped in the middle of the year. So Koichi asks her, how did it stop and what happened? So she tells him, I do not remember. But something happened during the summer vacation at that time. The next day, the teacher enters the classroom and slams the bag on the desk, and tells the students, today I am supposed to apologize to all of you. I did my utmost so that you would graduate alive from this school. I did everything I could to achieve that, but unfortunately I failed. And suddenly the teacher pulls out a knife from his bag. He grabs it and swings it in the air, exactly like a madman, and suddenly the teacher stabs the knife hard into his neck. So the students are extremely shocked, and he keeps stabbing it more and more. So a lot of blood splashes onto the students, and the teacher falls to the ground drowned in his blood. So the students scream and run away. Koichi goes to the teacher while he does not understand what is happening. Then the librarian comes to the classroom after hearing the students' screams, and finds the horrific scene of the teacher dead, and asks teacher Reiko to call the ambulance and the police. So Misaki tells Koichi, let us go. It seems ignoring us did not bring any benefit. And they leave the classroom under forced looks from the students. We return to the past, and at that time the librarian was walking with the teacher. So the teacher tells him, I am overwhelmed and exhausted. I no longer know what else to do. Surely someone like you understands what I mean. I am relying on you from now on. We return to the present, and the librarian tells Koichi and Misaki, what he told me worried me, but there was nothing I could do. The teacher was a single man and lived his whole life with his mother. But his mother was very old and had a serious illness. So she became bedridden for a long time. And when the investigators went to search the house, they found his mother dead in bed. And it was clear that someone had killed her. Surely the teacher went through a severe psychological state. So he killed his mother, and then intentionally committed suicide in front of the students. Since then the students realized that Misaki and Koichi were not to blame for the curse. And they started treating them normally, and Koichi is standing on the school rooftop with Misaki and Teshigara. Then Akazawa enters them, and tells them, it is true that you are now treated normally, but you must prepare for the next stage. So Koichi asks her, what do you mean? So she replies, it means you will be blamed. It is impossible that you will not bear responsibility. We are still at the beginning. After a while, Misaki goes with Koichi to the librarian, but they are surprised to find Akazawa coming out from him. So Koichi asks him, why was Akazawa with you? So he replies, she is responsible for the class in the end. That is why she comes often. She is a strong girl and also understands what she is doing. But I truly pity her. By the way, why did you come now? Koichi replies, we came to ask you about the story of the curse, stopping in the middle of the second semester 15 years ago. So the librarian tells him, that was the only year the curse stopped in the middle of the semester, and gives Koichi a notebook about that year, and continues his speech. Except for your mother, because I could not investigate her well. There were 7 deaths at that time. When did your mother die? So he replies, in the month of July. Does that mean the wave of death stopped in August? He replies, actually class 3 went on a school trip on the 8th of August that year. So Koichi remembers what his aunt Reiko told him when he talked to her, and asks him, 2 students died on that trip, right? Then something happened that ended the curse. So he replies, approximately, even look at the dead person's name, you will not find it. No one has known the identity of the dead person until now. But I am not sure why it ended. On the other side, teacher Reiko stands in front of the class, and announces that the school will do a 3-day school trip from August 8th until August 10th, and wishes them to do their utmost to be present. After some time, Koichi has a nightmare, which is when he enters his class he finds the students telling him, you are the dead one. And when he goes outside scared he bumps into Misaki, who also tells him you are the dead one. So Koichi puts his hand on his face and finds his face coming off in his hand. Koichi wakes up frightened, and suddenly hears his phone ringing, and it is his father calling to check on him. So Koichi asks him, did you see any photos of my mother in middle school? So he replies, she showed me her graduation album on our wedding day. So Koichi asks him again, did you see the group photo that her class took after the graduation ceremony? He tells him, why are you asking? So he replies, I heard that the photo is strange, exactly like ghost photos. So his father asks him, where did you hear this silly story? But I remembered something now. I think I heard an old story about a terrifying photo, but your mother hated it so she left it in your grandmother's house. So Koichi is shocked and hangs up quickly. After that Teshigawara calls him, and tells him that he must meet him urgently. So Koichi asks why. So he tells him, we cannot talk on the phone. You must meet me, and if you are with Misaki bring her with you, because this matter is important for the whole class. So Koichi agrees. As soon as Koichi goes to the cafe that Teshigawara told him about, he finds Akazawa calling him. So Koichi is surprised, so she asks him, did Teshigawara not call you to come here? Fine, sit here. So he asks her, did he call you too? So she replies, yes, I came because he mentioned that the matter is important for the whole class. He also told me in detail about the story that happened 15 years ago. The worker there comes to take their order, and asks him, you are Yua's friend in the class, right? Thank you for treating my brother well. So Koichi is surprised, and the worker continues speaking, I am Yua's older sister. And now what will you drink? So Akazawa replies, bring him coffee like I ordered. Akazawa asks him, why did you not return to Tokyo after all this? So he replies, I felt that if I returned I would be running away from reality. I wonder if I am actually the dead one. So Akazawa replies, and it is possible that you were not even born. So Koichi is shocked, and Akazawa continues speaking. 15 years ago the curse ended your mother's life, and that means you might not have been born at all. And now after 15 years, you return to life again as a transfer student to this school. So Koichi becomes very afraid. But Akazawa laughs at him, and tells him, I was joking with you. And extends her hand to Koichi to shake it, and tells him, I feel that I have seen you somewhere before. But I do not remember exactly where. So he replies, you shook my hand in the hospital before. Does that have anything to do with it? So she tells him, I did not mean that. I shook your hand in the hospital, because it is said that a dead person's hand is colder than a normal person. But I expect it is a lie. Suddenly Teshigawara and Yua enter to them. So Koichi asks them, what is the matter you brought us for? So Yua replies, since there is a possibility that my sister might die because of the curse, I could not keep the secret from her, and I told her everything in full detail. And it turned out that my sister was in the same school, and it seems she knew about the curse from the beginning. Yua's sister comes to them, and tells them there is a customer who always comes here. And I found out that he studied at this school, so I asked him whether the curse existed in his year or not. But he told me I saved everyone. I have something I am supposed to tell class 3 students, but I do not remember what it is. So Teshigawara suggests that they go talk to that man. Koichi goes to the doll shop to meet Misaki, and asks her to come with him while he visits the person who managed to stop the curse. But she refuses, and tells him, I am supposed to travel tomorrow with my father and mother on a trip, and I could not refuse. So Koichi asks her, will you travel outside the village? So she replies, yes, but I will be gone for only a week, and I will return before the school trip. By the way, did you find the photo your mother left in your grandmother's house? So he tells her no, so she gives him a paper with her number on it, and tells him to call her when he finds it. Then Misaki leaves quickly, so Koichi goes after her, and finds her lying in the place of the doll that looks like her, and she tells him, do not worry, you are not the dead person. After that Koichi goes to his aunt Reiko, and tries to learn more from her about the person who ended the curse 15 years ago, and tells her that the man does not remember any details about the incident, and asks her, do you even remember that person? So she replies, of course. We were in the same class and the same club. So Koichi asks her, do you know how he succeeded in ending it? So she tells him, I did not hear anything like that. But all I remember is that when we went on the school trip, something happened but I do not know what it was. And his aunt apologizes because she cannot remember. Koichi asks her, that person went on the school trip, right? Did you notice anything strange about him? So she replies no. So Koichi becomes sad, and says then we have to ask him personally. So Reiko stands up, and tells him that she will talk to that person herself, and will go with him when he goes to meet him. And while Koichi is putting his things in the car, Teshigawara and Yue enter. And after a while Akazawa joins them, and suggests to Koichi that he ride with her, because his aunt's car will not be enough. But Koichi does not want to ride with her, so she goes and rides with him anyway. After a while they set off on their way to the place where the person who ended the curse lives, and Reiko tells them that the man left the village a long time ago. I spoke with his mother, and she is the one who told me, and she told me that he is currently staying in a hotel in the neighboring city. And suddenly they notice a huge truck passing next to them. So they all go completely silent and are afraid of dying. And when the truck passes and they leave the city safely, they feel a bit happy, because they have now left the village and therefore the curse would not affect them. Koichi asks Akazawa, why are you responsible for protecting the class? And how did you get into that position? So she replies, usually the teachers appoint someone, because none of the students like to be in that position, since they become responsible for the lives of all the students. As for my case, I nominated myself, because I decided that I would be the one to protect the class. After that they arrive at the hotel where the person they are going to lives. And Reiko comes out and informs the students that he is not there right now, and that she left him her phone number so that he can call her when he returns. So the students suggest to her that they go to the sea to enjoy a bit. As soon as they arrive there, Koichi looks at the sea, but he is surprised when he sees Misaki there, and he rushes to her, and she is also surprised that he is there. And from then on all the students start to have some fun, after the hard times they went through at school. In addition to the harsh scenes they had been seeing, whether bodies or blood, Koichi asks Misaki, since your summer house is here, what does your father do? So she replies, honestly I do not know, but he rarely comes to Japan, so we play the role of a family during the times he comes. So Koichi asks her another question, if we find the dead person after all this, will that be enough for the curse to end? So she tells him, I am sure that will not be enough. I believe the time has already passed. While all the students are playing and swimming in the water, the man who ended the curse goes to teacher Reiko, and tells her, I tried to call you but it seems your phone was off. So Reiko asks him, how did you find our place? So he replies, this is the closest beach to the hotel, I would surely find you quickly, and asks her, I feel like I saw you somewhere recently. So she tells him where, I do not remember seeing you before, maybe it was another woman, or perhaps at our classmates' funerals. He asks her, who are these kids? So she replies, they are class 3 students this year. I cannot remember how you ended the curse. So he replies, even my classmates asked me about that. But honestly I do not remember what happened. So Reiko asks him, do you remember the school trip back then? And Koichi joins with Akazawa and Misaki to talk with them. And Akazawa tells him, you were exposed to an accident, right? He tells her, honestly I do not remember. But what I know is that someone died on the mountain at that time. So Koichi asks him, did you not leave anything behind to guide the people after you? So he tells him, I think I left something to tell the people after me how to get rid of the curse. But I do not remember what it was. So Koichi asks him, do you not remember where the thing is? Or do you not remember what it is at all? Meaning, did you leave papers with your notes or something else? So he replies, I do not think I left papers. I remembered. I left a clue in the school. Suddenly strong winds blow in the place, and push the student's ball into the middle of the sea. So one of the students goes to get it, but the ball goes very far. So Teshigawara warns him not to go any further, and suddenly that student starts drowning in the water. So the rest of the students worry about him and go to save him. But he comes back joking with them. But while he is going to get the ball he faints. So all the students rush to catch him, and at the same time a vehicle passes quickly, runs over him and cuts him into pieces. So the students are shocked and ask, why did this happen? We are supposed to be outside the city. So the man with them says, I left the clue for the people after me in the classroom. Since then the students become confused and ask themselves why. Because they believed that once they left the village the curse would not affect them, and that means there is no escape from death. So the students became scared and confused, and they do not know what to do. After a while, Koichi and Misaki walk with teacher Reiko and the librarian. So the librarian asks Koichi, how was your classmate doing on that day? So he replies, he was dizzy, and he was vomiting constantly. Why are you asking? So he replies, I talked to a police officer about the matter, and learned from him that he did not die because of the vehicle impact. Because at that time he died before being hit in the first place. And I also learned that he had a hernia due to a bruise in the skull, and his parents said that they heard a loud sound coming from the roof on the morning of the day you traveled. And when they went up to see what it was, your classmate appeared running in fear. So he must have injured his head then. Koichi says that means the cause of death was an accident in the village. So he replies, probably, because there is no other explanation for the matter besides that, and also he left the village without having his head examined at the hospital. After that Koichi goes and meets with Yuya and Teshigawara at the cafe, and tells them that the man said he left the clue in the classroom. So Teshigawara is surprised, and Yuya says he must mean the classroom of class 3 in the old building. So Teshigawara asks, but I wonder what he hid in that classroom. But it does not matter, it is good that we at least know the place. And Teshigawara grabs his phone to call the others to inform them. But Koichi stops him, and tells him, I do not want anyone to know right now. Because I believe that whenever one of us reaches something new someone dies, so I do not want to sacrifice anyone else. I want you to wait a little and not tell anyone until we reach something, and then if we need their help we will call them. So Yuya asks them, when will we go to the old building? So Koichi suggests that they go early in the morning. So Teshigawara tells him that he is tired of waking up early, and besides there will be teachers present there. So Koichi suggests that they go tomorrow at 3 in the afternoon. So both of them agree and Teshigawara tells them we will meet in the art club room there. The next day, Koichi and Teshigawara go to the club room, and meet two classmates there, So their friends ask them, what are you doing here at this time? So Teshigawara replies, we are here to meet Yuya. Are you here for the art club? So they reply, no, we were going to the drama club. But we do not believe you. Why did you come here? So Koichi feels cornered and is forced to tell the truth. And tells them that he is searching for a key to end the curse. And promises them that he will tell them the details when they find something new. And suggests that they come with him to search together. But they get scared and refuse, and leave quickly. After that they go up to the art club room, and are surprised to find Misaki sitting there drawing. So they ask her if Yu has arrived or not yet. So she tells them, I do not know, I just arrived now. So Koichi asks her, why did you come here at this time? So she replies, I did not have anything to do and felt bored. And I did not want to sit at home. So I thought I would come here and waste some time. And the question is, why are you here? And why are you waiting for Yuya? What are the three of you going to do? So they try to dodge the topic. But suddenly Yuya enters and apologizes for being late, so Koichi tells her the truth. After that they go to a staircase with a sign that says no entry, and Koichi tells Misaki, we do not know what will happen to us, so it is better for you to wait for us downstairs. So she replies, do not worry about me, I will be fine. And after that the four of them go up to the upper floor. Koichi asks them now which one of them is class 3. So Misaki replies, of course the one in the middle, because there are 5 classes. And Koichi opens the door and they enter the classroom, and Yuya tries to turn on the light, but it does not work. And each one of them starts searching for the clue in different places. So Yuya says, I heard that there is a secret in the library. It is said that a low sound appears in the library. And it is also said that there is a basement there with books that are forbidden to be published publicly, and that the one who wrote those books locked himself inside to protect them. Koichi replies he must still be alive. And that sound might be from him. So Misaki tells them, I actually heard that sound. So they are all surprised. But she smiles and tells them she is joking, and goes to open the window to let some air in. But suddenly the glass falls on her. And Koichi saves her at the last moment. So Yuya tells her, leave the windows open so no one knows that we are here. After a lot of searching they find nothing. So Misaki says, I do not think that man would put the clue in an easy place. So Koichi replies, but he also would not put it in a place that is too hard to find, because there would be no benefit if he hid it. So Misaki points to a locker that no one searched. So Koichi goes and opens it, and finds something hanging inside, and tells them, I found this thing. And it is written on it, to the future students suffering from the curse. So they finally become happy that they found the clue. And when Koichi removes the tape from it, he finds that it is an audio recording tape. They take themselves and go to the school broadcast room to look for a device to play the tape, and they actually find the device and put the tape in it, and the man who ended the curse says in it, I am a 3rd grade middle school student. I will hide this tape somewhere in the classroom after finishing the recording, and whoever is listening to this tape now is probably 3rd grade students affected by the curse. I recorded this tape for 2 reasons. The first reason is to confess a sin that I committed. And the second reason is to tell you the method by which you can stop the curse. And it is related to the extra student in the class. During the school trip from August 8th to August 10th, we went to a place to camp, and there were 22 students including me. And on the second day of the trip we went up the mountain to explore it. And after we finished, it rained heavily, and the weather suddenly changed in a strange way, and there were lightning strikes everywhere. And while we were coming down the mountain, there was a student with us, who was the only one who brought his umbrella. And suddenly the thunderstorm struck him, to the point that I smelled a horrible smell because his flesh was burned. Panic spread among everyone and everyone started running. And here a female student lost her balance and fell from the top of the mountain. And she was the second victim. And there was nothing we could do except call for help. But we could not save either of them in the end. And after that what matters is the moment we finally went down. Suddenly the 4 of them hear the sound of someone coming, so they take the tape and hide quickly. And when the worker opens the door to see where the sound is coming from, he finds no one, so he leaves. And they come out again to continue the tape. But unfortunately the tape gets damaged in Teshigawara's hands. So Koichi asks him, what are you doing? We have not heard the important part yet. So Yuya replies, it might work if it is fixed. I will do my best to fix it. After some time the students go on the school trip, but they are very sad and upset. So Yuya tries to break the silence, and suggests that they take a souvenir photo, because this is their last trip in middle school. So they all stand up to take the photo. But sadness and grief are still visible on their faces. After that they enter the house where they will stay. And the teacher tells them we will rest today, and start our trip tomorrow. And the librarian who is with them on the trip tells them there is a businessman who donated his house to the school. But honestly the place is more luxurious than it should be for school students. So the house workers welcome them, and tell them that they left the rooms open for them. After a while, Koichi and Misaki go with Teshigawara and Yuya to listen to the tape. After Yuya managed to fix it, so Teshigawara plays the tape. And the man who ended the curse says, and then comes what matters. As soon as we finally went down, my classmate and I were standing in the forest, and a heated argument broke out between me and him, and it reached the point of exchanging punches between us. And when I came back to my senses, I found my classmate lying next to the tree and drowning in his blood, and when I looked closely, I found that a tree branch had pierced his neck, so I ran back to my room crying. After that the police came to interrogate us about the 2 victims who died, and of course I did not mention anything about the classmate I killed, and when I went to bed to sleep I could not at all, and I was sure that someone would find that body, and that would cause a big problem for me. But when morning came and I went back to the place of the body again, I was surprised that it was not there, and I did not even find blood traces on the ground. And when I returned to the camp and asked my friends about that classmate, their expressions were very strange, and they asked me who is that person. We do not know anyone by that name. They also said that the number of participants in the trip was 19, not 20 people. And at that moment I understood everything. That classmate I killed was the additional student who infiltrated the class that year. I am sure that I killed him. The truth will never change. That is why I decided to confess my guilt here. After 2 weeks from the school trip, I became the only one who remembers that person. But I feel that it is only a matter of time, and I will forget all of this. But as long as my memories are still working, I decided to tell you the truth, and the method of ending the curse, which is that you return the dead to death. And this is the only way that will end the curse if it starts. After the tape ends, the 4 of them are shocked and confused. So Yua says, how will we know the dead person? Even though none of us will be able to distinguish him from the others. And besides that, this dead person does not know that he is dead at all. I wonder if he is present with us on this trip. So Koichi says, and suppose we knew who the dead person is. What will we do then? Will we kill one of our classmates? At night the students sit to eat, so Teshigawara says, I thought a lot about who might be the dead person. But he notices Akazawa looking at him, so Akazawa stands up, and asks Teacher Reiko to speak in front of all the students. So Teacher Reiko agrees, and Akazawa tells the students there was a series of sad events that started in the month of May. Even our teacher was not spared from the curse. First, I want to apologize to you for my failure in protecting the class. Second, I am sure that part of the responsibility falls on Misaki. So the students agree with her, and she continues speaking. If Misaki had committed to the role of the non-existent person as we agreed, no one would have died. So Teshigawara interrupts her speech, and tells her this was inevitable. So she asks him, do you really think so? If Misaki had stayed away from Koichi, all of this would not have happened. I am sure that Misaki is the primary reason for the failure of the magic. Teshigawara asks her, what do you want now? So she replies, I want her to apologize in front of the whole class. So Misaki says, there is no use. Even if I apologize, nothing will change. I would have apologized if it had any benefit. But still, I am sorry. I am the reason for what happened. So Teshigawara shouts at her, and tells her that is enough. Suddenly one of the students falls onto the table, and he cannot breathe. So the librarian goes to Teacher Reiko and asks, is this student asthmatic? So Kazami replies yes, and he takes this medication. So the librarian takes it and tries to use it. But it is empty, and he shouts at Teacher Reiko and asks her to call an ambulance. But the housemaid tells them, unfortunately there has been no network here since yesterday. So all the students try to call an ambulance, but there is no use. After that the librarian takes the student in his car to take him to the hospital quickly, and after that the students enter the house again. So Misaki goes to Koichi, and thanks him because he supported her in the dining hall. So he replies, there is no need to thank me. Besides, Teshigawara and Yua were supporting you as well. But she thanks only him, and tells him, I want you to come to my room tonight, because I want to see the photo of your mother that you found. After a while Koichi actually goes to her room, and Misaki asks him, where did you find these photos? So he tells her, I do not know, my grandmother is the one who found them. So Misaki removes the bandage from her eye, and asks him, do you know where Misaki is in this photo? So he replies, he is the first one on the right, because he has the features of death. After that she asks him, are the rest of these photos of your mother? She looks very similar to your Aunt Reiko. So Koichi replies, by the way, regarding your relative Misaki who died, when I met you for the first time in the hospital you were holding a doll. Was that Misaki's doll who died? So she tells him, the woman who lives with me now is not my real mother. She is the twin sister of my real mother, and when both of them grew up and got married, my real mother gave birth to twins and Misaki was among them. My aunt, who is now my mother, was also pregnant, but her child died at a very young age. So my aunt became very sad and was on the verge of collapse. And unfortunately my real mother, who gave birth to twins, was going through a financial crisis. And at the same time my aunt wanted anything to comfort her broken heart. So I went to her and became her daughter, and my mother took money in return. And Misaki, who died, was my twin. When I discovered the truth when I was in elementary school, because of a slip of the tongue from my grandmother, I saw panic on my mother's face. It seems she wanted to keep the secret from me all my life. And since then I wanted to see my real mother. And I told my fake mother that. But she always stopped me. But I used to meet my sister Misaki in secret. She also knew that we were twins, and we felt that we were connected together. And she used to sneak into my house when my mother was not there, because she loved dolls very much. And when I asked her what she wanted for her birthday in April, she told me just a doll. But unfortunately after the beginning of our third middle school year, Misaki died, so I went to the hospital to give her doll because I promised her. So Koichi tells her that is why you told me it had already started. You meant the curse at that time. Why did you not tell me all of this from the beginning? So she replies I did not want to believe that Misaki died because of a stupid curse. Koichi tells her so Misaki who died in April was the first victim. But everyone believed that the curse started in May. That means the additional student was already present before I came. That is why you were sure that I was not the dead one. So she replies yes. But that was not my strongest reason. So he asks her then what was the strongest reason. Misaki stands up and removes the bandage from her eye, and tells him this doll eye told me that you are not the dead one. I told you before that this eye sees things that should not be seen. It can see the color of death, the color of people who are close to dying. So he asks her what color is that. So she replies a color I have never seen before with my other eye. So Koichi asks her so you can know who is the person close to dying. She tells him it is a strange matter for you. But I have accepted the situation already. I did not even talk to Misaki about this matter. You are the first one to know. I do not see the color of death on you. So Koichi asks her so you know who the dead person is. Is he present with us on this trip? So Misaki nods her head yes. So Koichi asks her who is that person. But before she tells him they hear a loud sound coming from outside. And it is Kazumi falling from the balcony. And Teshigawara rushes into the room, and tells them I think I did something wrong. On the other side, Akazawa is sitting in her room with her classmate. And she tells her there was a girl with us in elementary school, who looked very similar to Misaki. And it was supposed that Misaki was an only child to her parents. We did not study in the same class, but I remember that the students used to call her Misaki, and based on her home address, she was not supposed to be in the same school as me at all. And suddenly Akazawa remembers that Misaki was not wearing a bandage on her eye in elementary school, even though she wore that bandage when she was only 4 years old. We return to Koichi again, and Koichi asks Teshigawara what happened, so he replies can I ask you a question, do you know someone named Kazami? So Koichi replies yes of course I know him. He is with us in the class and most of the time he is with you. So Teshigawara falls to the ground, and says I made a huge mistake. I was wrong, I thought he was the additional student. So Koichi asks him while shot did you kill him? He replies yes I tried to check him myself. Besides his behavior was strange lately. He also told me that he forgot our childhood memories. So I gathered my courage and asked him, you are not Kazami right? You are the additional person who sneaked into the class. And because of these questions he was terrified and panicked. So I was sure that it was him. But I was not serious about killing him. We fought and went out to the balcony. So I pushed him and he fell from the balcony and stopped moving. And blood was coming out of his head. I made a very big mistake. So Koichi replies either you really made a mistake, or Kazami did not die at all. Because it is not necessary for him to die from falling from the second floor. So Teshigawara goes and looks from the window. But he cannot see him from there. So Koichi suggests that they go down to make sure whether Kazami is really dead or not. While they are going down, Koichi notices that the dining hall is open. So he goes there to see what is inside. And suddenly one of the students grabs his leg, and he is soaked in blood. So Koichi asks him what happened. So he replies I looked into the dining hall, and I found the house owner dead. So Koichi slowly pushes the door, and sees that fire is spreading all over the place. And at the end of the hall there is the body of the house owner who was murdered. Koichi takes his classmate and runs quickly. So Akazawa calls him along with Misaki and Teshigawara, and they ask him what happened. So he tells them our classmate was stabbed by someone. Besides there is a fire in the dining hall, and also the body of the house owner is inside. There must be a criminal who stabbed the classmate and killed the house owner. So Teshigawara asks them did you find Kazami? So he replies no. And suddenly they hear a scream coming from upstairs. So Akazawa tells Teshigawara you stay here with our classmate, until we see what is upstairs. As soon as they go upstairs they find blood traces on the ground in front of Akazawa's room. So they open the door and enter to see her classmate, and they find the room full of blood. But they do not find anyone inside so Kodi leaves the room, and Yua calls him and asks him what happened. So Koichi replies did you see Akazawa's classmate or Kazami? So Yua tells him I found Kazami. He came to my room covered in mud, and told me that Teshigawara's behavior is suspicious. And when I asked him about what happened, he raised the dagger at my face, and unfortunately I had to tell him about the tape. They enter Yua's room, and the surprise is that the recording device has disappeared. So Teshigawara comes and asks Koichi did you find Kazami? So he replies not yet. So Yua asks them what is happening here. But Koichi tells them we must split up and search for Kazami and knock on all the doors and make them flee. After that Teshigawara goes with Yua, and explains to him everything he knows. So Yua tells him we must inform teacher Reiko. So they knock on the door but no one opens. And when they open the door they find no one inside. And they notice blood traces in the corridor. So they follow them. And they reach the end of the blood traces at a certain door. So they open the door while afraid, and suddenly they find the housemaid holding a knife and a lot of blood on her body, and she raises the knife at them. At the same time Koichi is with Akazawa and Misaki, and suddenly they hear screams from Teshigawara and Yua, so they go to see what is happening, but they are surprised to find Akazawa's classmate in the room. So Akazawa goes to her and asks her, "Are you okay?" So she replies, "Yes, but I came here to kill Misaki, return the dead to death." Koichi jumps at her and takes the weapon from her. So she tells him, "Do not stand in my way," and she hits him and then leaves. So Koichi asks her how did she know about the tape. So Akazawa replies, "Because she heard the tape. You found it in the old class 3 room, right? She told me that she saw you there. So she asked Yua to let me hear it since I am responsible for the class. I will search for her and find that girl." Suddenly that girl speaks through the house speakers, and tells them the tape you are about to hear now, is the way we know how to stop this curse. So the girl plays the tape for them, and after it ends, she tells them this is the truth. The curse stopped because of this method 15 years ago, and the dead person of this year is Misaki. And the proof is that I studied with Misaki who had both eyes in elementary school, and this Misaki lost her eye when she was 4 years old, and she screams at them and tells them to kill her quickly. All the students come out of their rooms holding sharp weapons in their hands, and they approach her wanting to kill her. So teacher Reiko screams at them, and tells them you cannot kill your classmate. So one of the students replies, "If we kill her then the curse will stop." So she yells at them and tells them that this is wrong. So one of the students screams and says, "I do not want to die," and he rushes quickly at Misaki. But he hits teacher Reiko by mistake, so she falls to the ground and bleeds from her head. Koichi goes and hits him hard, so Misaki holds his hand and tells him that he does not have to do that. So they take themselves and run away immediately. But they collide with a group of students in front of them. So Koichi pushes them and enters a room and locks it quickly. Then they escape through the window. So the students break the door and run after them, and they find that the two are escaping through the window. So she pulls out a knife and strikes Misaki quickly. But Koichi saves her at the last moment, and that girl falls from the window on her face and dies. On the other side, the maid pushes Teshigawara and he crashes into the wall, and she strikes him with the knife but misses her aim, and raises the knife again to stab him. But Yua gets ahead of her and strikes her first. So the knife falls from her hand onto Teshigawara's leg, and he gets injured in his leg, so Yuya takes Teshigawara and they escape quick. At the same time, two students are standing talking, and they ask, "Is Misaki really the dead one?" And suddenly they smell the scent of fire. So they follow the smell of the fire until they reach the dining hall, and when one of them opens the door, an explosion happens in his face, to the point that he becomes charred. We return to Koichi and Misaki again, who are hiding from the rest of the students so that none of them kills Misaki. So Misaki asks what was that explosion, so Koichi replies it was probably the dining hall, and suddenly Akazawa's classmate appears behind them, and stabs her weapon into Koichi's shoulder, and steps on his face and tells him, "You always stand in my way," and she directs her words to Misaki, "I will kill you now." So she lunges at her and strikes her, but Misaki manages to dodge the blow, so she lunges at her again, but she hits the wires there, which wrap around her neck, and the girl dies strangled. Misaki stands frozen in shock at what is happening, and holds the weapon that the girl had, so Akazawa enters on them, and finds her friend dead, and the weapon in Misaki's hand, so she thinks that Misaki killed her. So Koichi tries to explain the truth to her, but she is extremely angry, and vows that she will kill her, so Misaki escapes through the stairs. On the other side, a series of explosions start inside the house, and the students run trying to get out of that place, and suddenly a chandelier falls on the heads of some students and kills them, and in another place, there are two female students trying to escape, but suddenly one of them is stabbed with a knife, and falls to the ground, so her friend screams when she sees the killer in front of her. At the same time, Yuya pushes Teshigawara out of the ground floor window so they can escape, and before he jumps as well the maid who is running after them grabs him, and lifts him back up to kill him. So Teshigawara quickly stands up to save his friend, so that crazy maid jumps at him, and raises the knife to kill him. So Teshigawara screams and says, "I do not want to die," and before she strikes him, the librarian suddenly appears and grabs her hands, takes the weapon from her and manages to kill her. After that the librarian takes Teshigawara and goes to his car, and finds a girl sitting there, so he asks her did no one else manage to escape. So she replies no, and after a while the librarian manages to treat Teshigawara and stop the bleeding, and tells them no one move from their place. "I will go search for the others." On the other side Koichi walks searching for Misaki, but he finds a stabbed girl in the middle of the road. So he checks whether she is still alive or not, but she has already died. Then one of the female students runs toward him, and tells him help me, and suddenly a knife hits her neck and she dies, and it is Kazami who killed her. Kazami asks Koichi, "Do you remember this girls?" So Koichi replies, "Yes of course, what are you doing?" So Kazami tells him, "Just as I expected, I turned out to be wrong. Akazawa's classmate said that Misaki is the additional person, but I believe that you are the dead one." So Koichi is shocked. And Kazami continues speaking, "The curse started this year in the month of May, remember? So you must be the dead one since you transferred to this school in May." And Kazami lunges at him to kill him. But Koichi dodges all his strikes, and tries to make him understand that he is mistaken, and that the curse started in April. But Kazami does not care about his words, so Kazami headbutts him hard. So Koichi crashes hard into a room door and it breaks, and Kazami goes to him and tells him, now I understand why Teshigawara wanted to kill me. So Koichi tries to speak, but he shouts at him and tells him, if you never came to this school our classmates would not have died. If you never got close to the non-existent girl they would still be alive, and he raises the knife to strike him. But suddenly Akazawa hits him on the head, so Kazami loses consciousness, and Akazawa manages to save Koichi, and tells him, you have killed 2 people so far. You do not deserve to stay alive. And Akazawa raises the stick to strike him, but the librarian stops her, so Akazawa gets angry at him and tries to take the stick from him, but she cannot, so she leaves and runs away. Koichi goes outside the house with the librarian, and Teshigawara becomes sad when he finds that his friend Kazami is already dead, so Koichi calls Misaki to see where she went, but she does not answer him, so he decides to go back inside the house to search for her. As soon as he enters inside, he keeps calling her name, then he goes up the stairs and suddenly notices Misaki standing in front of Aizawa. So Akazawa goes toward her holding a weapon in her hands, so Koichi runs quickly toward her to stop her. So she tells him, if we do not kill her we will all die, and you might die as well, so he replies, you are wrong. Misaki is not the dead one, so Akazawa throws him to the ground and lunges at Misaki, sits on top of her and tries to kill her, but Misaki dodges her strike, and suddenly an explosion happens in the place, so Misaki stands up and tries to escape, but Akazawa grabs her again, then another explosion happens and the first floor collapses on them. Misaki quickly stands up and goes up the stairs, so Akazawa grabs her again and they fall from the stairs, and Akazawa strikes her and sits on top of her, and tells her finally the curse will end, and before she strikes her Koichi jumps on her quickly, and tries to hold her and tells her you are wrong. But Akazawa does not believe his words, and strikes him and throws him onto Misaki, and asks him, why are you doing this? I was trying to protect you. As long as you are protecting her I will kill you with her, and suddenly lightning strikes the house, and all the window glass breaks and falls on them. We return to the past and Aka's crying heavily, and suddenly she loses her balance and falls. So Koichi helps her stand up, so she asks him, you are not in the same school as me, right? So he replies, yes, I came from Tokyo. By the way, why are you crying? So she tells him, someone dear to my heart died. So he replies, sadly, just like me. We return to the present, and glass is all over Akazawa's body, and Misaki sees the color of death on her. So Akazawa tells Koichi, a year and a half ago, I saw you in this village. Do you remember something like that? So he shakes his head no. So she replies, you are really rude. At least you could have said yes even if it was a lie, and then Akazawa dies. Suddenly violent explosions happen in the place, and when they stop Koichi discovers that Misaki is not beside him, so he takes out his phone and calls her, and as soon as she answers he checks on her, and asks her, where are you? So she replies, behind the house. But it is better that you do not come here. So he asks her why, so she tells him, I am about to kill the dead one. And you will regret it if you come here. But Koichi does not listen, and searches for her until he finds her. And there is a person under the tree trunk trying to get out, so he tells her that they must help her. So she tells him, it will not work, because I see the color of death on her. She is the dead person, so Koichi goes to that person to see who it is, and suddenly he sees teacher Reiko, who is also his aunt. Koichi stands shocked and cannot believe it, and asks her, is she really the additional person? And Koichi tries to deny his own eyes. So Misaki tells him, the number of seats was correct this year before you came. And yet the curse started in April. Why do you think that happened? Because the place that was missing 1 seat was the teacher's room, and now move so I can kill her and stop the curse. Koichi stands in front of her, and tells her I will be the one to kill her, and Koichi apologizes to Riko, and raises the weapon to kill her, but he starts asking himself, is this real? If Misaki is wrong then I will stain my hands with Riko's blood. Should I go? Saki says, I remembered something. A year and a half ago, I was walking on the road, and I saw someone killing teacher Reiko. So Koichi remembers his father's words, and the words Akazawa told him before she died, about him being present in this village a year and a half ago, and in the end, Koichi raises the weapon and kills her, and then faints. After some time from the incident, Koichi goes with Misaki to visit Reiko's grave, so Misaki says no one in the class remembers teacher Reiko anymore, so the librarian comes to them, and tells them teacher Reiko died a year and a half ago. It is said that an unknown person stabbed her and threw her into the sea. I do not remember well, but is teacher Reiko the dead person of this year? So Koichi nods yes. So the librarian shows them the class notebook from 2 years ago, and points to the red mark on Reiko's name. So Koichi tells him, by the way, I read Azawa's name in this year's file. So the librarian replies, that would be Akazawa's brother, your classmate. After that Koichi walks with Misaki, and tells her, I tried to call you before, but you did not answer. So she replies, because I threw the phone in the river. Because I do not like it. But I am sure my mother will buy me another one. So Koichi tells her, what do you think if I buy you a new one, and we talk every now and then? So Misaki smiles. Koichi continues speaking, by the way, Yua gave me this photo. You can see Reiko in it, right? So she replies yes. So he tells her no one can see her except us probably. I wonder if we will forget what happened after some time. So they walk a bit, and Koichi asks her, so is the curse finally over? So Misaki smiles and nods her head.